Um, Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our final briefing of this evening. I'd like to welcome representatives from the Foxton War Memorial Horse Society and also local hapu who are here to present the joint business case that Council received. You would have all seen the business case circulated as part of the pre-reading for tonight's hui, and just important to note that this briefing was requested by the group in order to present their business plan for councillors to ask any questions or queries they may have. So I'll hand over to them and I'll leave you in their hands.
Check. O puki a te poi a te pō kau atea. Tā huri kauana te tai o te whakarongorongo kei whera te ahunga mai o te wānanga. E ui ake kirunga ki arangi nui e tū nei. E ui ake kiraro ki a pape takoto ake nei. Wheti whano haramai te tuki haumia hui e tae ki e. O kā tikarere kau atu nā roimata o tō tātou tuakana e ram kūrero nei. Tēnei nā tirau kaua e kauia te roimata ki runga pāriri I tēnei wā e tangi kau atu. E rā uatanga kino e ngau kino nei wainga nui a tātou. Taira wātu ki tōna tuaine anina o tino tātou katoa e tangi ana. Ka mihi. Hari te mea koi anake te mātatoru o rātou mā kukapuhi e te ringa kahua i tua. Tika te koro ko mā kurawa te papa. E whai atu I tō tātou kingi atu heitia. Nā reira koutou ki te pō, e moi, oki. Tātou te kanohi ora, huri no te whare. Kei te mihi atu. Kei te mihi atu ki a koe te koromatua. Pēne o tino tō pe, ko tai kaha mai. Ki runga I te reo karanga o tēnei hapore. Koutou e tutuki pai ai ngā huatanga o te wā. Kei te mihi atu. Mō hio kau atu, he rangi roa tēnei. Mā koutou e ko whiri ana ngā take nui o te wāna reira hari te mea kaukungia e nui ka mihi. So just first I wanted to acknowledge the passing of Adam and you know, just appreciate you know, your council are in mourning and especially for his sister Nina and you know, a beloved member of our community, so just want to acknowledge that. And it's you know, it's unfortunate that it's not only him at this time, but our whenua has been completely soaked with our tears for those who have passed away throughout this year, and especially acknowledge our King Tuheitia, o te tau te whiro te toa whitu. Mourning them and turning our gaze onto today, just wanted to acknowledge everybody here, our mayor, all our councillors in the council. And just recognise it's been a long day for you. You guys have got the glare. So I just wanted to give a bit of whakapapa about Foxton Memorial Hall. But I do want to just remember for us as a small community. I know we're introduced as Foxton community and the hapu, and we're very much just a tight-knit community. And I guess for us, we just wanted to acknowledge Brent for kind of taking up our proposal to, rather than have these two independent expressions of interest in a competing nature, give us space to work together. And then, of course, the council who also permitted us some time to spend and work through each other and with each other. And I guess what we all collectively landed on was recognition of the importance of this hall, recognition of our long-standing, I guess, interrelationship in Foxton being the gateway to European settlement in this area, that first sail Te Awaho, which led into, you know, the Turanga blocks, and we all know the following aftermath of that, but we recognise that this is a really important little community. Sometimes that importance is overlooked, and we saw that kind of happening with the Foxton Memorial Hall, and so all of our albeit from very different vantage points. I think we're all looking to the same thing, and we've been really fortunate to spend some time together as a community and just work through and fold over and talk and share and be on a journey which has been really rewarding. Recognising, of course, that we showed up to one of the community meetings, and one of our Auntie Miriwun, she talked about how she was there as a little kid with Auntie Ada and them fundraising to get that hall built. And so we recognise the long-standing heritage there, and we started to spend a little bit of time brainstorming the values. And I wanted to spend a little bit of a moment to just recognise that. Ka mau mahara tonu tātou ki a rātou. We will remember them. The War Memorial stands as a place of reflection and respect, acknowledging the servicemen and women, past, present and future, who have committed themselves to our country's defence. And fortunately, I'm not sure if everyone's aware, but we've just had our first Chief of Army female appointed, and we had a chance, some of us, to go and acknowledge her. And at that acknowledgement, we remembered all of that. We were the D Company, and we acknowledged our long-standing commitment of this. They called us Ngāti Walkabout in those days, and a lot of our old grandparents and them were fought there. Unfortunately, none of their memorabilia is able to be hung anywhere in our region, and this is a place that we all collectively recognised that our returned servicemen and women can be celebrated. Te manawa rotanga o Ngāti Raukawa, and we recognise the leadership and integral part of our community of our hapu and iwi, and working in a more collaborative way will benefit our wider community, and we've seen that on our short journey together. And finally, kia kotahi te reo te hapuri, and standing with a unified resilience and passion for our heritage and our town's heritage is really important. Tēnā koe. Whiri mai. Come on with us. So my job was to give us the opening gambit, so I've just done that, and I'll pass it over to our community members who will share a little bit of kōrero, and then we'll take our business cases read and then have Caleb answer any questions. Tēnā tātou. Introducing themselves. It's part of our
Kia ora everyone, Tony Robinson, born and bred in Foxton, Ladies Mile. Supporter of the town. Passionate about the town, passionate about what it stands for. To stay there. 31 years of business there, working for the South. I haven't got a law degree or a degree in too much, but I think I've got one common sense, and probably got me a little ways. So I'm here very much as a supporter. Probably haven't got the vocabulary to go with these guys that have got letters before their names and stuff, but like I said, a bit of common sense probably goes a long way, and yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Kia ora everyone, I'm Jane London. Excuse me. I'm a live-in resident, but also a Foxton Beach resident, and we have history at the beach. And I'm just going to tell you something a little bit about Tony rather than myself. Tony got married at the hall. He had his daughter's 21st at the hall. He had their engagements at the hall. They had their after-wedding functions at the hall. So this man is very passionate about the hall, but we all are. So we really want to see it as saved as a community asset for everyone in the community to utilise.
I'm Sue Ann Russell, you probably know who I am as well. I'm on the committee. I don't usually get to say a lot, but we've been in a very long journey. We've done a lot of research, we've found facts. We're really, really happy to have is a reflection of the community of Foxton, and it's a multi-use by multiple different types of people in Foxton, and we've taken 6 years to get this far, and we're not going to
So I grew up in Wellington, spent a lot of time here, and actually just more recently returned back home, which has been pretty awesome. So always in connections back to Tafo and Waitanere, actually. Background is, well, yes, I don't like to use the letters, but I am CEO. I spent a lot of time in one of those big four and management consultancy and then on a big scale business transformation businesses, all that other stuff. This is actually way more meaningful and quite a cool club to be involved in. I'll talk a little bit more about coming in from the outside and what I've observed and the group we can get to it, but yeah, definitely.
Kia ora, probably Greg Russell and outstanding passion about staying more for our community. I wanted to share with you that we had an AGM recently and only about 8 or 10 people showed up. It's not as well advertised as they would like. But one of the people that did show up was Deputy Mayor. Great to see him. We didn't have the quorum we needed, so 2 weeks so later we had another AGM. Other people there. It was much better turn out and it wasn't going properly. My chair, Dr. Fox, hospital at the present time, having some surgery done, but she's fine and she's back on deck hopefully by the end of the week. But I have to say, blown away by the quality of the presentation here today. Blessed by the home life tone and I am very such an inspired every time I get to see him. So, no me.
I'm Tim Alexander. My association with the Foxton Beach, Foxton, goes back 55 years. And we started going there as a kid in the holidays. My parents retired to Foxton Beach. They said they never retired. They basically got involved with committees to save the river. They saved the Dark Street Hall, which unfortunately becomes not available. But they raised so much money for that hall that it would spill over into things like parks and the Circle Club. And they contributed a lot. Their feeling at the time for that Dark Street Hall was that it was a community hub. And once you lost it, you lost it for good. And so it was a shame to see that it was not going. When Jane and I came back to the beach, we invested in my parents. Actually, but this is a very summer situation, so still involved with it. I also spent 5 years saving Wellington. And these things are very, very important to the community. At the time, it may seem moderate, but they're a liability. And actually, they're a very asset, in particular in this time of climate change, where people actually can homes. So many reasons why we should try to save this.
All right, well, I guess to move us forward, I appreciate it has been a really long day for you, and I've been in a few of those myself lately, but business plan, just to correct that, not the case, take it as read. Questions? Open it up. Comments? Who wants to start? Just had a question on keen to understand within the business plan package indication of
Sorry, Clint, just introduce yourself.
within Ward Councillor. Indication of memorandum of understanding being signed. I'm just keen to understand what's behind that, and I guess kind of the committee structure and the governance piece moving forward kind of sits, and appreciate it may not quite have landed, but just keen to hear what some initial thoughts were about that structure moving forward.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. So I guess the MOU is still early days, and the reason we haven't finalised it is because we kind of wanted to see what the outcome was, and just to make sure we had that final picture. But as everyone aware, an MOU is it's a formal agreement that sets out sort of roles and responsibilities. So as everyone is aware, the business plan sets out that heavy ownership is one of the key parts of this. But we also recognised when we met with the society the amount of work that they had done, and actually we wouldn't succeed unless we had the whole community behind this. So it's really there to set out the roles and responsibilities just alongside that ownership structure to make sure we have a functioning sort of operating model. Again, we'll finalise it on the end of the event that it's successful and don't take whatever we need to at the time. And it's something that's a living document, and we continue to assess. I've been involved in lots of business cases. Business plan is right, and it is one of the words of my life. And we just have to be realistic, right? But yeah, that's sort of set up that piece.
Because one of the questions I've got is, I was surprised in reading through the business plan that the reference to, so we know the hall's precious, and we get that from the group all the time, we understand that. I'm being a Foxton resident myself, totally understand that. But I was surprised to read that one of the options could be demolition of the hall. And that, to me, doesn't sit well because of the whole purpose of the society and the protection of this precious hole is to protect from that. So I'm just surprised to see that, and see if you can give me some kind of explanation what you mean by that.
Good, Ross, and no, I appreciate that. And that's a very last resort, but what we also have to recognise in the community taking ownership of this is we can't afford to bankrupt this. This is essentially where it comes from. If I look at the Wellington City, the town hall, that's blown out to hundreds of millions. We just have to be realistic that no one will be strengthening it if it's unaffordable. But the importance there is it's still a community asset that we're looking to keep in the community. It's just a pragmatic, realistic approach.
Just a follow-up. Follow-up to that is in the initial council resolutions talks about transfer of the board to someone, whether that's all society to EV or society mix. If the business fails, the board is to come back to council. How does that sit with the society and the EU in terms of if that was the stumbling block to get this thing across the line, in terms of you going away and making this work, if that was remains the resolution of council, how does that sit with your future plans?
The uniform reliability.
Well, are you proposing, Ross? Sorry, I'm just trying to understand the question. Are you proposing that the council would seek the mechanism of reliability?
Well, the current council resolution is that if the all society fails, or the collaboration fails in terms of running the business to sustainable, earthquake strength, etc., but the council holds the right to take that. That's the current resolution of council, as I understand it.
So this is probably getting into a more touchy area, just around taking land back and things like that. I might get paid to talk a little bit of that, but I guess with the business plan, and obviously there's always risks associated with them. If things don't go to plan in that first year, we're going to have to change. To keep a community asset like this, as everyone's aware, the community has to use it, and if it doesn't use it, you don't keep it on
funding. But we have to balance changes in the short term, and we can have a few goes at this if we really needed to. We're hoping this is a pretty robust plan, but we're also recognise that even the best plans get failed and we can change. But I might get Hayden to talk a little bit about the return, because I think when we start to get into this, it means a lot more to that community and keeping that community asset. And I think that's where the realist is. Communities need to go over the top, and we need to be responsive to the community needs. And what we don't want to do is to look about bringing the community along.
Yeah, I'm personally not really that too concerned about that particular aspect of the decision, Ross, but I can get to that. I'm really focused on the idea of land optimisation across this entire area and finding a way forward that recognises where there are heritage and cultural value, where there are environmental and conservational value, and where there are economic opportunities. I've got strong feelings about the way some of your predecessors on this council have managed some of the lands, and think that we've looked at it parcel by parcel by parcel, and we're trying to advocate really strongly to think about how we can think of this in the whole picture. And so if we're all collectively coming on that journey with the council community upbringing, I think that's a real positive direction. And this is really the starting. Albeit a very shotgun attempt at it within the timeframes that have been provided, and come up with a pretty robust plan. Plenty of ways to look at it in a pragmatic and meaningful way, but recognising if we're going to have to do, the government might change these requirements for strength and fingers crossed, that could be a really positive direction. But also if we go to a place where there's a lot more red tape and we can't actually afford this as a community, we'd be in the same position as currently wanting to sell.
Just want to clarify that there's no intention to be selling this for profit, or selling it full stop.
And that was a fundamental point that we agreed on our very first meeting. Why some of the MOUs and relationships are really important. We do not want this unique from the community. We don't want it to become something that we don't, doesn't respect the values.
I just want to make a comment there. I just want to make the comment that whatever agreement we come to between council, Hapu and community board, it needs to be a society, that it needs to be commercially viable, it needs to be legally sustainable, and it needs to be a tight agreement. The council resolution doesn't meet any of those, and so that needs to be
Yes, I'd just like to make a comment. When you look at some of the criteria the council put on sale to the developer, he's got 36 months to strengthen that hall. We're obviously working with the society and iwi to go out to achieve that. So if you're looking at the possibility of saving the hall, you've got a greater chance with cells than you have a developer that's on a very tight time. Good. And also having perhaps the driver making a venture. We are committed to saving this hall, and so ourselves, the criteria is quite different. We are really going after this. We believe we have certain individuals that
passionate about it. I think that's before you even get the legal side of whether you should be using Section 144B. Sell this. It's another issue.
My question was more around acknowledging the fact that the earthquake rules might change. Wouldn't it be better to know sooner rather than later what the standard of the building is before we start getting into talking about income and expenses and things like that? Because if it's not viable or it's not practical or it's out of scope in terms of what you can do, just response to that.
Good, Vinny, thank you. I guess, that's part of why the plan's about it is we need to get, and we do have funding available to understand that earthquake threat, the current status. But at the same time, as you're aware, the earthquake-prone building remediation that is built going through because it's getting time frames by 4 years, and there's a very detailed review about the work that needs to be done. That's not intended to be implemented until about 2026, at which time we'll have a very clear picture about where it is, because where it's against the current standards, and that might move quite quickly as well. So it's kind of that we have to take a balanced and sensible approach that we're not over-capitalising and stuff that's not going to add value, I guess. So yeah, appreciate it. Yeah.
The other side to that is that we need to get into the hall, get it running, and get it in use, and get events going, get communities using it. Before, and as we are raising funds to get it assessed, we've got it assessed, we'll know what the price it is, and then so that's kind of a second exercise.
Yeah, sorry, there's some pretty ambitious sort of figures put into the plan, and if I was, say, an anchor tenant wanting to go into a place, I'd want some certainty about that I'm going to be here for a few years probably, and if I know that there's going to have to be earthquake strengthening or something done in 3 to 4 years or whenever it is, that may sort of mean that I might not take up the offer. That's all. That's why I wanted, if I was a tenant, I'd be keen to understand what those requirements are around the earthquake strengthening.
Completely agree with you, and I guess that's been one of the challenges about not having that access and not having any certainty over the future. But it's hard for us to invest as a community into something that's so uncertain, and particularly significant sums of money. But I guess when you look at the budget too, we've kind of split that out because we recognise that some costs we can't avoid. We just have to pay them out. But there is a lot that we can pick up in community voluntary work, and if it's not operating with a tenant or anything, it's fine for a shower. Those fixed costs are kept to a minimum, and so it's a difficult position for us.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah.
Got it. I just have a couple of points of clarification, just around your assumptions. Ownership of land and buildings are transferred to equity. Usually that in perpetuity means non-transferable as well, but then there seems to be this additional component that it will be freely transferable to a rather undefined category of people. That seems to be in contradiction with some of the other terms used in lands such as Hapu, Ngāti Raukawa, Kitatonga, and then Tūmata Kāhoki as well, and so that assumption. So I suppose just there's a point of clarification on why it's convincing on why we just allow it to be freely transferred if you are unable to get them all up and running. Good, Jonathan, sorry, and just to clarify, it's not really about that. So we're taking the legal definition here, which is in perpetuity iwi. Iwi is bigger than just Hapu. Ngāti Raukawa is present. So we are going to have changing iwi. So what that was trying to capture, it may not sit with the entity that's owned by you that it starts in, and it needs to be transferred. It's not a bad news or profit for it. That's one of those really
specific recognitions of where we are now and where we're going to be in the future. I mean, that's great. I understand that. For us, handing over the asset for a specific purpose, which you come here to stay, running it as a hall, you have all these things that you're going to do right now, and then transfer it over to another entity. Our focus, how do we have that guarantee that we are not just handing over a building and a land to a group that's going to develop in the future.
There's also a workshop. What is the framing of this meeting?
Are we live stream? No.
Yes.
We are being live stream. Yep. So it is a workshop. Yep. Yep, public.
Yeah, so you're not going to hear your thoughts, Jonathan, how
So, I mean, that's what I'm asking the question about. So it's the same mechanism that we're not going to run off and do that now, right? All of, like I said, it's just about the ability, increasing on it. We don't have all of our future structures and entities in place. The people that it gets transferred now may not exist then, so it's just being, that's a future proof thing, thinking again. Yeah, sorry, I mean, maybe I'll clarify that by saying that it's not about the vehicle transfer, it's not about that vehicle. It's not about the status of entities over time, it's more about the purpose. So, now we're looking at a business plan based on community fund, community service. There's no guarantee that if you transfer that to another entity that that same purpose will transfer. But by that argument, there's no guarantee if you transfer it to this entity that that won't happen. It's the same thing. Or well, with a developer, we know it's going to be developed, and we've got like an economic purpose there.
Can I just make a comment on that? When the Borough Council transferred to the District Council, there was no guarantee.
Well, sorry, I mean, I have to disagree with there. Is that, it went from the Borough Council to the District Council, which has obligations to follow around and provide services to the community as well. Yeah, it's just hard for me to reconcile the core assumptions with our function of providing building a property for potential decent perpetuity, on the proviso that there's going to be some community function, community support, where there's no guarantee. So what would you like to see? I don't know. Because we're absolutely open, and obviously our intention is to keep it for the community, and that's why we're saying even if we get the demolition, stupidly expensive to remediate, then we're also looking at a community function. I mean, if we want to get around weekend or something, or we could look up at it, I guess there are options that we're interested in exploring. I suppose people are local, I mean, not that I'll be here next term. Successive councils might be faced with the problem of locals from Foxton coming here and saying, hey, you gave us building and land. As people of integrity, if we say what we're going to be doing, that's what we're going to be doing. Okay? Tēnā koutou, e mea ana ki aku hei. Tēnā koutou o te whānau riri. Mai? A lot of questions, but I suppose what I wanted to ask, especially you, the historical knowledge. So I'm really interested in a couple of things. We've read in reports and seen online and actually what is the lack of use around the hall. But I'm just wondering, from your point of view, what's been the biggest barrier? What just from your own personal point of view?
That's very easy to answer. It's not open. It doesn't have programs running in there, and the cost is prohibitive.
And just to follow on from that, what's the point of difference we can share with the table?
And that's easy to answer as well. That's not an historical cost. perspective. It is from the perspective of you have a committee here, you have a pool of people in our community, in the iwi, who are willing to put their physical efforts into keeping that whole. We have people who are cleaning, gardening, who are doing the earthquake strengthening, who are happy to do teas, coffees, functions. We have 2 rooms available for meetings, for whatever you wish, and that'll develop as we go. I'm sure we're going to run out of room. We've got a stage there which I can see is going to be good for the schools. We've got for kapahaka, it's a fabulous stage for kapahaka. There's toilets on both sides, there's male, female sides. None of these facilities have been opened up for use. And now we've got a committee willing to donate all their time, not all their time, a lot of their time. And we've got a pool of people we can call on. So that's something that we can bring that is not available to a commercial group.
You can apply for funding.
And we can also apply for funding, and we also have the backing of another pool of funding.
That's right.
So we have 2 pools now of funding that we can call on for all sorts of different things. Some are for assessing the pool, some is for earthquake strengthening, some will be for painting and maintenance, but some will also be for social programs that you can raise money for, and have social programs running through that hall. And all of these things are going to benefit our community, which, as you know, is not a wealthy community. They are things that we will be able to offer that will not get offered in any other way. And we also have a growing pool of more wealthy retirees who will also pay to use them. So, and also Foxton is growing.
Oh, sorry. I just need to because of what you spoke. But you mentioned earlier, can you expand for Foxton and currently where those types are, but also made a resolution to council well that move memorabilia might go.
No, I don't have any idea where it will go. But what we do have is 2 pools. We have the one that Hagan talked about. There is also another pool of memorabilia that is being held, which has no home. And it's really important that the home memorabilia is on display for the community. And the other thing that's really important is getting a memorial board up for the fallen Maori soldiers who are not on the boards. And then I'll hand it to him.
I take up with that. For those who don't know, my father is a returned from Vietnam in Malaysia, Singapore, 3 tours, and I spent my whole childhood growing up RSAs with people like and a lot of it is J-Force and World War II veterans. And sometimes I had the privilege to drive them around between Balls, Palmerston, North and Foxton, which was eye-opening as a young teenager. And what I can say is I can vividly remember sitting there with my dad in the old Foxton RSA, the new old Foxton RSA, and I vividly remember my dad talking to me about Freiburg and trying to remember all those stories and their dedication to us. I remember the different colours in the Foxton RSA, where you could see which campaign, how to know if they went to Egypt or Africa and all of these types of things. And those aren't actually available to us. They're not available to take my leg to. But of course, we've had our RSA closed. I don't, hand on heart, don't know where the memorabilia is. Before my dad, there was our grandparents, who the only one who I recognise on the hall currently is one of our Ropi Harkles. But we don't remember our piti headers, all the royals, like a whole lot of our people who campaigned and were part of the national mission. Speaking before, he's an absolute expert in this space. But we don't have that ability to tell our stories at home anymore. We can't actually. We will remember them we don't have a place to remember them. Before our generation, there was our granddads who were also part of a massive campaign to be the home guard. And so you go into Motuiti Marae and you can see those pictures of those people, my grandfather in there. Before them, our grandfather's parents around the time of Te Rangi Hirua, where Māori weren't actually permitted to fight in wars. We were only allowed to go to the war or to dig the trenches because we were actually showing Europeans how to combat through trench warfare. And so we didn't have that ability, so we had people like Te Rangi Hirua, Peter Buck, doctor, I think, or he was a PhD. But we had him, and he selected my koro, King Ethiopia, who was responsible to gather all of the Māori battalions of this region to campaign to get us in the pioneer Māori battalion. We were presenting colours, which is the highest award that you can get as military recognition for your unit. That actually get presented to the pioneer battalion until the last man died. And we don't have a place to tell the story now. And it's a story that's like we're deeply committed to and passionate about. So the notion of us coming in there and building this sky rise, building, demolishing this, that isn't the type of community that you've got here. This is a community deeply passionate about our Foxton identity and the history of our return service.
So there was 4 collections. The one you mentioned, so got memorabilia from a closed Foxton area saying that lots of memorabilia.
On top of the archives at our marae, so I've got my brother's handwritten diaries of the exact amount that was loaned to the New Zealand government to help build facilities for our return service from World War II. And so that was circa 30,000 pounds at the time, which is a lot of money. No interest loan from Māori landowners to New Zealand government to look after our return service. We're just trying to keep that memory alive and remember how our community supported them, supported in establishing this building, and remained here.
Hi guys, I'm Sam. I got 3 things I was keen to cover off with you. So the first is kind of just a general question about, I guess, we'll give you an opportunity to talk to your confidence around revenue assumptions. Because one of the things that stuck out for me was, like, one of the feedbacks we got throughout this process has been that the hall is not used at the moment, or previously, because of the cost of it. But looking at some of the revenue assumptions, like, for example, assume 5.5 days per week, $100 for hall hire, that's more expensive than council was previously renting it out on an hourly basis. So I just was a little bit confused by that. But yeah, so can you just talk to just the overall confidence in the revenue assumptions? Obviously, I know that you can't be specific because these films are forecasting, but yeah, first one.
I guess just when we talked about having the financial detail, are we going into closed session? Staying
Well, but you don't have to go into specific